Oh, Connie. Oh, you're making us blush. Connie's making us blush.
She does that to a lot of the men.
I know, I see all the Fairfields guys always come down just to visit Connie.
Okay, we are live.
Rolling on there, Annette?
We are.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? I see some black screen up there right now.
Because you're on YouTube and YouTube takes time to process, and I've gone back to Zoom. It's going to take a minute to come back through. But there's about a 3-minute delay.
So I'll wait 3 minutes.
You can.
No, but for us to get the screen back up the way we were just a little while ago?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be 3 minutes behind?
The YouTube will be. The Zoom will not be.
So should I be zooming on our devices?
That's
Good try.
up to you.
Because right now, Jen is still looking up. Let's switch that.
Yeah. Bear with us.
There we go.
There.
Okay. So, are there any additions to the agenda? Sorry about that, everybody. We're just doing a little bit of technical difficulties here. Okay, seeing none. Can I get an approval for the agenda? Brent? Thank you, Bacon. All in favor? Can I get an approval for the meeting minutes for November 17th? Moved by Brent. All in favor? Okay. So move on with the president's report. That is me. So regarding the financial statements, the board reviewed the legal advice received regarding the release of financial statements. The release of the statements is not recommended due to the proprietary information in the competitive energy sector and would not be in the best interest of the Eganville Generation Corporation. The information was recommended for release if the request was made by a third party for lending or investment purposes. However, a non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement should be signed. The board agreed if a written request were received indicating a third party's interest and the purpose pertained to the township as opposed to the EGC, the board would review this request and release the information with a signed confidentiality agreement. It was agreed that each request would be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. We did receive a request, which was reviewed, and the requester was asked to sign an agreement, at which time the information would be made available. Our operation review recommendation. The board reviewed the last 8 years of revenues, salaries, water and sewer contributions, admin fees, and interest received on the loan by the township. This information was considered at the November 17th meeting in a closed session as it contained proprietary information. However, following its review of the revenue and expenses, the board has not decided to consider selling at this time. EGC will participate in the township's asset management review in 2021 to determine any long-range funding requirements. And we also had a staff conflict of interest. The final matter discussed at the closed session on EGC was a notice of conflict of interest brought forward by a staff member. The details of this conflict cannot be discussed due to a non-disclosure agreement signed by the staff member. The board has reviewed recommendations from our solicitors and auditors and have identified some possible offsetting controls to ensure that Daganville generation is operating at maximum efficiency. Thank you. So we'll move on to the November 2020 sales and production report.
Okay, I sent the production or the report to you guys. I just sent it there yesterday because we don't get it until the 15th of the month. The revenue made for the month of November was almost 40,000, 39,700. It's pushing us very close to 400,000 right now. Let me go back. I think it's very close to that number. Yeah, it gives us 392,000 right now at this time for the plant. And considering we were off for the whole month of August, that's good revenue. Currently right now, as of the 15th of December, based on the numbers that I've gotten received, we're looking at about 21,000 so far for the month of December up to the middle of the month. So if we look forward, depending on how much the water freezes up and stuff, but say even if we make 40,000, that's going to put our overall annual income to around 432,000, if my math is correct in my head. So that surpasses the budgeted amount of around 410 that I had started at the start of the year. And considering we were down a month, I think that shows we did pretty good revenue this year. Any questions on that?
Oh, good, Jack.
Okay. So moving on, let's just see here. So then moving forward, you want to talk about plant status, or where do you want me to go, Tim?
Just 1 second. I'm gonna close this.
Just close the door.
Okay. So if there's nothing more on production, we can move forward on to where the plant is right now, the plant status, what we have going on. This is what finishing of the contract that LWMS is doing. He ran into a little bit of a delay with some of his parts because of the COVID, trying to get things across. I was just talking to Will today. It looks like he'll be finished with the job the end of January, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That leaves us to carry some of the expense into the next year. So it won't all be coming out of this year's budget. The gate itself has totally been, new lines have been run in, the sluice gate for the heating. That provides original RV antifreeze that was put in there. The problem with that is when it was heated up, it would break down, and it caused the lines to block and it would burn the pump out. So we've got the proper fluid that should be in there now, and the lines, it was cheaper to replace all the lines on the gate than to try and clean them out because of all the bends and the crooks. And we tried blowing them with steam and it was really not making any headway. So it was cheaper to do the overall replacement of all the lines. So that's been all done. And so there's really the only outstanding issue that we have right now is the tail raise gates, the installation of the tail raise gates at the back of the tail raise. The piers and everything's there, but not the gates. So, but that's scheduled to be done the end of January.
Just a question, Jack, on the fluid. What type of fluid did we go with? Because with the RV, I think the whole reason why you chose to go with the RV type of fluid was because of its environmental friendly capabilities, right?
Yes, that's right. The fluid we have now is environmentally friendly as well. The big difference is it can handle the high temperature. The RV stuff would break down with the high temperature. I can get you the exact name of that and I can send you guys an email. I don't have that right in front of me, but
Okay.
I know it's an RV or it's an antifreeze type of fluid that's been used throughout the water systems on the rivers by all the rest of the manufacturers. Will got the approval from it through the environment. So I can get the actual name and I'll send it to you guys so you have it.
Yeah, because with the RV issue, our RV antifreeze issue, it ultimately ended up, costing a little bit of repair bills. So just see what we have, what we're using, and make sure we have that.
Yeah, I'll get the actual name from Will, and then I can send it to you guys. You can dig that up. So,
Thanks, John.
yeah.
Anything else on plant status from anybody? No? Okay, operational review there, Jack.
So the operational review, I guess we're looking at currently right now, the amendment has given us, if you look at the years, month on month over the last couple of years, you can see we've definitely have more water in the fall due to the water drawdown amendment. And the operation right now is such that for the last 2.5 months, or for the last 2 months, I've had 2 units pretty well running full time. And currently right now, we're seeing enough of water that 2 units are running full time. And the second unit runs for about an hour, off for 2.5, and then back on. And so the plant is operating without any hiccups due to the changes that I made or that were made previously. When we go and do our plant, when I give you the plant walkthrough, I'll show you the benefit, what he's putting in these contacts have done. That gives the equipment the ability to turn off and on hundreds of thousands of times without doing any damage to the main breaker. Whereas contacts, previously the main breaker had to turn off and on. And after about 3,000 off and ons, you'd be replacing the breaker, the aluminum metal bar in there, which is quite expensive to replace that. You'd have to send the breaker out. So we early on.
You went from mechanical to a solid state device then?
That's right. Yeah, we went to the solid state for each unit turned off solid state. The only time the mechanical breaker would turn on and it's just there's an emergency shutdown. So then it would override, right? Say if you have a power outage or a dead short somewhere, then your main breaker kicks in. Right now, it's just the electronic switching the unit off and on, which protects the breaker from making break contacts and increases the life of the main breakers.
Yeah, so you don't have the arcing that would take place on the mechanical.
That's right.
I see Murph. Do you have a question there, Murph?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if my memory serves me correct, a replacement for the mechanical breaker was about 30,000 and a refurb was around 20,000, right, Jack?
Yeah, it was in that 30 to 35 range, the last one that Frank had got refurbished.
And we were going through them regularly. They weren't
Well,
lasting Time.
You'd have to, we'd be refurbishing one pretty well every year. Once one got damaged, put one in. Like I haven't, since I've put these electronic switches in, I haven't touched a refurb breaker. I still have the one the one that came back from repairs sitting there if I did have a problem. And these contactors, they were around, in the neighborhood around 10,000 per unit. So we definitely recouped our costs by putting those in. So.
So in the last 5 years, we saved approximately $50,000 in breakers alone.
Yeah, and it cost us 30,000 to put the fix in, so, you know.
That's definitely a good improvement, John.
I don't know if there's any other questions you guys want on plant operation or.
No. So I kind of interrupted you there in your operational review. Was there anything you want to keep going on with that, John?
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's like I said, it's the plant's running pretty good right now. There's very few issues. Once we get these last issues resolved, the plant should be in pretty good shape. The biggest issue, and I'll put that in the budget, and then we'll have to make a decision about new logs in one of the games that we did this year. So that's something the board will have to decide. Those replacing steel, the wooden logs. So.
Okay. So is there any other discussion then we want to, we can do any further discussion on that?
Do you want me to share the Excel spreadsheet with the one item from the operational review?
That might be appropriate. Sure, thanks, man.
See if I can get this to work with everything else going on.
It's okay. It's the last meeting or the last
Oh, but
item on the agenda.
that's not the, that doesn't have that's not the final one.
I think we pretty well went through it anyway.
Okay,
If that's what it is, we'll be all right there and now.
okay.
Sorry about that.
It's just not the final one.
Okay, so the last thing on the list for the agenda is to set the meeting date for January. And that will be, I don't have a calendar ahead of me. Can someone help me out here?
Wait, so it's the second meeting in January that,
19th?
Yeah.
So the 19th?
yeah,
Yep, January the 19th. Good with that?
Yeah, that's good. The 19th, then I'll have the total income for the year because I get it on the 15th. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll adjourn the meeting. I got a mover to adjourn. Brett, thanks. Getting adjourned.